we're going to start off with some rapid fire questions to get to know each other a little more.
Love it.
I'm going to start out light. How did you manage stress this past year? You know, nothing happened.
Nothing
I want to
going
hear a
on.
little bit about your routine.
I think probably like every other human on the planet, I streamed a ton of content. And I don't think it was anything too innovative. There was a lot of Bridgerton, a lot of Queen's Gambit, a zillion and one podcasts. It was streaming.
Amazing. Props to Netflix for keeping us all entertained. How about, what was your favorite, I guess, recent marketing campaign?
I am in love with Spotify's year-end wrap campaign. It just brings together music, data, super fun, creative. I love seeing what other people and myself were listening to all year.
Yeah, same. I'm always like surprised, like when I look at mine, I'm like, did I really listen to Billie Eilish that many times?
Maybe a little embarrassed.
Yeah, but it's smart. And how about, last question is, what would you say is a piece of advice you wish someone had told you early on in your career?
I love this question. Relax. Just like be in the moment, learn, grow, be more focused on that than getting to the next role or getting to the next promotion.
Well, so speaking of, let's not think about your next role. Tell me about your current role. What do you do exactly for American Express?
Yeah, I mean, I've been there for longer than I care to mention at this point, and I've done about 7 lives, I feel like, worth of jobs, everything from co-brand product management, digital product, performance management, but my current job is all about global brand media and experiences. So my team oversees media planning, buying for our big brand campaigns around the globe, as well as our sponsorship partnerships and the experiential activation of those partnerships. And we've got a small but mighty digital products team that helps support and amplify all of that.
Great. Well, so in case you guys didn't see in the program today, our conversation is titled In Conversation, #with Amex. Tell me a little bit about what that #with Amex means.
Yeah, so whether it's for our unforgettable experiences, our best-in-class customer service, our really relevant everyday benefits, our customers choose to be with Amex. And that's a serious choice to put their trust in us. And we take that really, really, really seriously and hope to earn that trust every single day.
Amazing. And one thing you talked about with your role is that you oversee experiential. So as I'll disclose, as an Amex card holder, I've had the pleasure of experiencing some of those incredible experiential opportunities. I think one of my personal favorites is the Amex Lounge at the US Open, which I love attending. So tell me a little bit about, obviously this past year had a bit of a hindrance on some live events. What would you say, you guys were able to accomplish as well, though, during that year that was perhaps a little difficult on you?
Yeah, I mean, what a crazy time to be in the live event business. I joke around with friends that I used to just have one CMO on speed dial, and now I have 2, our chief marketing officer and our chief medical officer. And never before was that like even in my parlance, but now it's like constant consultation. What's the status of COVID? What are the latest guidelines? What are the regulations? You start there, and then you think about, well, what do our members want and need? What are they comfortable doing, right? So whether it's virtual, in-person, or hybrid, it's all about really serving them, right? So one of our observations was, unfortunately, as the pandemic unfolded, people wanted to do more and more contactless payments. So we thought, what a great time we had this idea for a little while, but to build out a contactless store. So actually, I think one of the images we've got up here on the upper right is our American Express shop that we built at the Barclays Center out in Brooklyn. And it's a fully contactless experience. You tap, you go in, you pick up your concessions. It includes a lot of great unique products from local small Brooklyn businesses, and you go out. And then that was so wildly popular there during the playoffs at Barclays that we actually brought it out to the tennis. So yes, we had your beloved lounge, but we also had an American Express shop out at the National Tennis Center. Same thing, tap, get your concessions, and go. And because tennis is such like an incredible passion area for our card members, we were thinking, well, okay, some are gonna go to the tennis, but some might not be able to get there. What else can we do to support them? And really thought about a fact that we learned during the pandemic was there was 22% growth in people playing tennis, right? Because it's something you can do and it's like super safe and it's outside. But at least here in the city, it's really, really hard to get a court. So just up the road at Pier 76, we popped up 6 full-size tennis courts for like 2 weeks, and our members could sign up for a court and come and play tennis and hang out at our lounge and just enjoy that. And again, tennis is so huge for us, not just here in the US, but outside of the US as well. We've got a great partnership with Wimbledon. We were so excited to welcome fans back to Wimbledon this year. But we knew not everyone could get there. And so, yes, we've got great in-person experiences, but how do we bring our support for that avid tennis fan into the virtual world so they could enjoy that from home and we could still deliver on our promise that tennis is better with Amex? So one of the things we did here, this visual is all about our great partnership with Andy Murray. And we brought an AR experience where you could kind of hit around, get a little volley going, a little rally going with Andy. And also, if you engaged in that game, you were entered into you had an opportunity to win a virtual meet and greet with him, and also tickets to go to the 2022 championships in real life. So
Wow.
really trying to deliver.
I don't know if I told you this before, Andy Murray is actually my favorite tennis player. So I'm like, now I'm upset that I missed out on that amazing opportunity.
Wow.
Well, tell me a little bit. It's interesting. You talked about the contactless payments, so I guess like perhaps the future, I'm not going to be like whipping out my card, right? I'm curious about what you see, what you've done, this past year, what you think that's going to bring into the future. Like what lessons you've learned and experiences you've made that actually make sense to just keep moving forward.
Yeah. Look, I think a lot of what we've been doing, we'll keep doing, right? That blend of in-person, virtual, this hybrid situation. The other thing we've joked a lot about, like, man, like I lost my crystal ball during COVID and I wish I had one. The one thing I know for sure is like whatever I try to guess is going to happen is like not what's going to happen, because I've tried to do that like 20 times throughout COVID and it just hasn't really worked for me. So I think we're just keeping our ear to the ground and staying really, really close to what our members want and need from us and delivering that way.
Awesome. Well, you feel free to ask me anytime. So one thing I guess I'm curious, and it's clearly the theme of this event is talking about out-of-home advertising. Yeah. And so we talked a lot about, obviously your experiential but also virtual. Tell me a little bit about Amex and out-of-home. Like how important is out-of-home when it comes to your campaigns? I
would say historically it's played a really major role in some of our biggest campaigns. Actually, last night someone reminded me our brand relaunch back in 2018. We had these amazing spectaculars all over big downtown areas, and it's how we announced kind of the rebranding that we were doing. Mm. And then, of course, as the pandemic started to unfold, it was like, well, God, everyone's inside their home. I got to find other ways to reach them. Yeah. So no one was more delighted than us, as we started to see the pandemic easing a little bit, consumers actually leaving their homes. And this summer, as people started to emerge from their little COVID cocoons and get back outside, out of home was one of the big channels that we leaned into for our Shop Small Summer campaign. And what was super great in terms of this use of out of home is we were able to get like hyper local. We had a lot of digital out of home in there. We could really make the creative like sing and speak to you on that super local level. A couple of examples we've got here, we could get down to like, oh, there's a specific small business like around the corner that you can go to, which was really, really exciting. But it doesn't stop there. We're back in airports, which has been historically a really strong place for us to show up. We've got a long heritage in the travel space. Our platinum card platinum card delivers for our card members in the travel space, I think, better than any other card. And so it's a great environment, a little bit of a little example of how we're showing up there now. But I think there'll just be more and more opportunities to come.
Well, so I think what the campaign you were just referring to a few years ago, that was like a big splash, is don't live life without it, don't do business without it. Those taglines that just like stick into my head. I'm curious, and I believe you have a new one that also just launched. Tell me a little bit more about the strategy of having these like I said, these taglines that really stick with you and other aspects of those larger campaigns. And again, you really go all out with them.
Yeah, so in 2018, we kind of came out with the language of powerful backing, right? With the taglines, don't live life and don't do business without it. But I think fundamentally, powerful backing has been part of what American Express has delivered for 170 years. And so we re-articulated it in that way. And then the evolution of that as we've really come back into the market in a strong way this year is all about with Amex. And that is telling the stories of how being with Amex makes, life better for all consumers and in so many different ways. So a couple examples here. It's a little hard to say. The first one, all the way on the left there, is one of my favorite pieces of creative. I just thought this was so relatable during the pandemic. Like, you have this realization that you need to wear real pants at some point, like your yoga pants or your sweatpants that you wore for like 9, 10. I'm not judging anyone. I probably was wearing some this morning. Like, maybe you need to get some real pants. Like, we see you, we understand that, and we can help you with that. We have a whole Amex offers platform that can probably get you a great discount at a retailer where you can go to buy some real pants, right? Or, purchase protection for your big purchases. Or we have a great buy now, pay later product so you can get those bigger purchases done when you need it, called Planet. So just telling that whole story of how just everything's a little bit better when you're with Amex.
Amazing. Well, I still refuse to wear real pants. That's why I'm wearing a jumpsuit, but good to know. I'm curious, another campaign that I can't believe is happening next month is we're going into Thanksgiving, the holidays. So my understanding, Small Business Saturday was something that Amex pioneered, but now has become this massive cultural phenomenon that people like me are very much looking forward to soon when it comes to discounts and just supporting businesses. Tell me a little bit about how you keep that annual event relevant, just because now it's, been around for a bit. And anything you can tell me about what I'm looking forward to next month.
Well, we're coming into our 12th year, which is pretty incredible. We created Small Business Saturday coming out of the Great Recession to help small businesses with the one thing they needed most, and that was getting more foot traffic into their stores. And so we continue on that mission. We've expanded beyond the day. We're really thinking about it as a year-round program. You might have already seen at the beginning of this year, we were out there supporting small restaurants with a program that had a really easy call to action for consumers: order in, help out. Which I really embraced. So, so we keep just finding new ways to help, thinking about doing it year round, really helping businesses that have been hit hard, whether it was by the pandemic, or perhaps you're in a segment that was sort of underserved, perhaps didn't have a lot of access to capital before. How do we get in there? How do we help? And so, we're just a few days away. We've recently made a pledge about how through our Shop Small, both the day, Small Business Saturday, and our year-round campaigns, we're really working to support $100 billion in consumer spend between now and 2025. So we're super excited about that.
Well, I'm sure personally I will be helping out with that. But unfortunately, we're out of time. But Bess, I really appreciate you taking the time today and sharing a little more with us.
Thanks so much, Carrie.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.